I will help you, I'll uphold you with my right hand. I will strengthen and I will help you, uphold you with my right hand. Must I remind you, I will help you, I will never cast you away. All of those who strive against you, all the mountains in your way, they will be like dust before you. The wind will blow them all away. You must fear not, O Jacob. When you pass through the waters, I'll be with you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. La, 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 la.
Shalom, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. Let me get set up here. That's a beautiful song, a new one. Just put out, looks like 2 weeks ago by James Block, and that is Fear Not from Isaiah 41. It is a promise from the Father to Israel in the last days. I felt it very appropriate to play that in this broadcast, at least because of the content that we're going to be talking about with predictive codes concerning disease X. And also want to talk briefly about the accuracy or the predictive elements of the Bible codes. And there's one thing I've always stood on and always preached, that I don't believe the primary purpose that who gave us these codes were to predict the future. And I think Michael Drazen got that wrong with his books, and misled a lot of people. He did find a predictive code that predicted the death of Yitzhak Rabin 1 year before it happened, and it in fact happened. But he never did ever have any other predictive codes. And the readers of his books kind of walked away with a bad takeaway on it, that, well, the codes are not reliable for predicting the future. I don't agree with that. And again, I don't believe it's the primary purpose of codes. I believe the primary purpose of the codes is to confirm the Bible. The Bible interprets itself. The answers are within the text in encoded form. But also, I agree with the rabbis in the sense that these codes or the text itself, and not just one text, the Leningrad, the Syria, no matter what, every text that the rabbis have tested, and we have personally on this channel have looked at 3 different ones, they all contain codes. And each of them are a little different because some have the books in different orders, but that doesn't seem to cause the code to fall apart. Actually creates new codes when it's sort of like a hydra. Some would say any one letter out of place and the whole code falls apart. That's not true. It would be like water damaging a spider web in one of the corners. Though there's some damage there's an anomaly there, the structural integrity of that spider web, it's still intact. So that's the very same thing with the codes. So I've been seeing something here trending here recently, and it reminded me of something that happened before. I started seeing this term all around the internet, 3 or 4 years, up to 5 years, with Bill Gates going around doing TED Talks, talking about disease X. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I think, and I felt the need to do a video in spite of what I'm going through. And we'll talk about that toward the end of the video. But still, it was impressed upon me to take a look at this, because the last time I saw this term going around I actually did a video and was talking about the eclipse. And here we are coming up on that second eclipse of that series that I talked about. The one that happened in August 21st, 2017. And then the next one 7 years later, making the X across the nation. It's very significant, this point in time, this 7 years. Okay. So in 2017, I did this video. And so this is how I'm going to lead up to showing you this code. So bear with me, guys. Please watch this whole video. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't have any outline or anything like that on how this is going to go. So I'm just going to wing it for you and show you what I'm working on. So let's just go back in time to 2017. I was still in Utah. And I did this video here, which has almost got 150,000 views since 2017, August 3rd, talking about the August 21st eclipse and what it means for America. And it says you might want to sit down for this. So let's play this one part, and I want you to see that I was seeing these patterns, and I was using codes, using patterns I was seeing with world history, signs in the heavens, and I was putting all these pieces together, and here's where I was in 2017. So this goes to prove that the codes can be used in such a way that you can discern what is going to happen very accurately. And just a reminder, this particular channel was correct on both of the Obama elections. This channel was also correct in 2015. I was on a live broadcast with Joe and Doug Hagman, and told everybody, when he asked me who did I think was going to be the next president, this was before way before the nomination. This is 2 years before the election. And all of Hollywood was laughing at the notion that Donald Trump would be president. But yet I was on that show. Many of you heard it. And I said, brother, the codes are indicating that Donald Trump would be the president, and with a caveat, because there's a code table called Trump wins, Hillary steals, if you remember. I'll share a link from Louis Vega's site that has most of my codes on PDF. But you can see what I'm talking about. I was already talking about Trump becoming president, and it looked like Hillary was stealing something, right? And then we didn't know until hindsight that this was stealing from Bernie, okay? We thought it was going to be the other way around, that she was going to steal the election from Trump. That didn't happen. He did win. And it looked as though, because like I said, all of Hollywood and most of the people on the the news channels were saying Trump didn't have a chance. Well, the codes were right. Right with Obama both times, right with Trump. And then the second go around for Trump, when everybody and their mother was saying Donald Trump was going to be president, you were witnessed here. The codes were indicating Biden was going to be the next president. I won't go into the details on that. You guys, I had to delete 400 videos from my channel because they deemed it misinformation. And you know what I'm talking about. I did a live stream, days before the election, telling you guys the circumstances of the election. Biden was going to be president. Donald Trump was not going to be president. And what happened? Exactly what I told you was going to happen. All right. Now, this is after, I've already told you this in 2017 about the future for America. Then I was right about the elections, where the codes were. By the way, I'm just an analyst. It's the Holy Spirit that reveals these things. As an analyst, I was correct. And I'm working on the next election. And then I got to be really honest with you guys. To me, it doesn't look like they're going to let Trump be the next president. I could be wrong about that. But to me, in my analytical, 2 cents, it does not look like he's going to be allowed to be president. Okay. So with that being said, let's go back to 2017 and see what I said right at the beginning of this eclipse season. Here's what I said. Or some sort of sign
from the Most High. He's telling us something. The scriptures are very clear that he uses signs and wonders from the sun, moon, and stars to communicate with the Mazzaroth. Now, at World War I, some 9 million combatants were killed, and 7 million more civilians died after that. So take that in consideration. It was a solar eclipse, a very profound one. And then World War I.
I actually misspoke and misquoted right there. It was actually a lot more people died in World War One than I just said. I don't know why I said that, what I was thinking at the time, but I can clearly see that it was, it was like 60 million people died in that. So the point is, I'm putting together all these patterns that I'm seeing, and this is where I got to.
Incidentally, there was one also in World War II, even greater casualties there. But before we go to World War II, June 8th, 1918, the path that you're going to see here in August is the very same path that went across the United States in 1918. Now, why is this significant? Well, at the time that this went across, America was entering into what would be the worst pandemic the world had ever seen up until that time. Some 500 million people were affected by this, and some 100 million died. I think it's somewhere around 670,000 Americans. So at the time of the crossing of this eclipse, America was just getting started with a plague that was striking the nation, and this thing went right across, just as it's going to do in just less than a month from now. So that's August 21st, 2017, the very same path.
So I was looking at the possibility, could we possibly see a next pandemic, another pandemic? Well, listen.
Now, does this mean anything? Does it mean there's going to be war? Is there going to be a plague? What's going to happen? I'm not saying something's going to happen on the day, folks. Please, I'm not making any predictions here. I'm making a educated observation here, and then I'm about to show you something in the scriptures that the Father put there 3,500 years ago, because the access term we're going to look at is eclipse 777, which is the Hebrew year 5777. This year, Jubilee, quite possibly.
So I went into, this whole teaching on that. I even showed you some codes and stuff like that. So I was thinking about, the possibility of another world war and a pandemic happening. This is in 2017. What happens just a couple of years later when I'm in Hawaii? COVID happens. And I even did a video. And by the way, I had to erase all the COVID videos because they were hitting me on misinformation and medical information and yada, yada, yada. So like I said, I had to delete some 400 videos from my channel to avoid the new censoring stuff from YouTube. But many of you remember it. I still have the codes as proof. I just don't have the videos anymore. But I talked all about that. Even before COVID hit the United States, Donald Trump was in the podium telling people it was not coming to the United States. The CDC was going to catch it. I'm seeing they're welding people in the buildings in China. And we already have the coronavirus access term. We can clearly see Wuhan. We can clearly see the words disease X that they were talking about then. 3 years before, 5 years before COVID hit, the same thing. We were seeing, just like I'm going to show you here in just a moment, these different channels and different doctors and Bill Gates all doing TED Talks and different publications talking about disease X. And we got to be ready for disease X. And we're working hard for vaccines. First of all, how do you know how to work on a vaccine if you don't know it? The reason they call it disease X is because it's unknown. It doesn't make any sense to me. But they're saying in some of these reports, we're already working on vaccines. I don't want to get off into too much, you guys, because I really have to dance lightly with the upper echelons of YouTube. and be careful not to get into things that are above my pay grade. Again, I'm just an analyst in this. I'm not necessarily trying to tell you what's going to happen, but I can see these patterns happening again, and we are coming up on another significant part of this 7-year pattern with this eclipse. We're going to see another eclipse in April of 2024 going in the other direction, making the Paleo Hebrew letter there, the top. There's also some other eclipses that happen that also draw out a couple of other Hebrew letters, but that's not the point of this presentation here. I want to first show you what I've been seeing and why this kind of drew my attention, because I'm seeing this over again, and it's just a few years later, right? They're talking about this again. How real is the threat of disease X? So
Disease X is exactly what its name suggests, an unknown pathogen lurking around with the potential of causing the next deadly epidemic. This unidentified pathogen lurking out there with the potential to cause a future epidemic and has been given the nickname Disease X. Disease X has come under the spotlight of late as a UK health expert shared her fears about new viruses out there setting off another pandemic deadlier than Covid-19. Kate Bingham, who chaired the UK's vaccine task force from May to December 2020, caused a significant reaction when she stated that a new virus has the potential to become highly dangerous to humans, with the possibility of reaching the same level of deadliness as the devastating Spanish flu of 1919-1920, which claimed the lives of over 50 million people worldwide. What exactly is Disease X, and why is it a source of such alarm and concern? Disease X, as its name suggests, is an unknown pathogen. It can be a virus, a bacterium, or fungus without any known treatments. The World Health Organization website explained Disease X. Thus, Disease X represents the knowledge that a serious international epidemic could be caused by a pathogen currently unknown to cause human disease. Richard Hachette of the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations warned it might.
here's the interesting one here. Says disease X is 20 times deadlier than COVID-19. And by the way, I forgot the name of it, unless it's going to show in one of these, and I would have to go back and look. But there's a virus that's broke out right now in India that they say is the death rate is 40 to 70%, and they are talking about that this is the next disease X, right? Could that be true? Well, when we get a name, I'll start looking for that in this table that I had, but it's around the corner. And I've said this since the first one, that I didn't think it was going to be one plague, because the Bible is very explicit. There's more than one plague. And so I think you guys can see where we're going with this, and it's very serious. How to fight.
Very warm welcome to everyone who
How to
has
fight
tuned in
disease
to
X.
watch this conversation with Dr. N.K. Arora. We are going to talk about the biggest buzzword these days, which is disease X. Dr. Arora is co-chair of INSACOG, which is a national multi-agency consortium of genome sequencing laboratories. He is also head of COVID-19 working group called National Technical Advisory Group of Immunization, NTAGI.
You guys, I'll leave a link to this search engine here. It's just video after video. Most of them are from a month ago. They do go back even further than that, but it is a trending word right now. It's something that caught my attention. I was like, wow, this is not the first time I've seen this. We've actually found this in the codes, and it is quite serious. So with that being said, let's go to the actual code table. And at first, I'm going to show you one of the original COVID-19 tables. that is worked extensively. And I did like a 2-hour video on this one that I had to delete. Now in this table, we could see a lot there. I mean, Jacob's trouble is in here, and I even did a triangulation of this event with the word times of Jacob's trouble, and it did coincide with this particular outbreak that we're talking about. Lots of information here, you guys. Too much to get into right now, and I've already, skated elimination from YouTube by the videos that I put out. Just going on the gauge of how they were, judging me on the videos that they dinged me for, led me to eliminate a lot of them. In talking about medical things, you just can't do that now. And if you do, you have to be qualified. You got to be a doctor, and it's got to be correct information, or they will hit you, right? So there was no question. And again, we found this particular code early in the outbreak. It had not come to America yet, and we had all this information already, and we could tell of where it was going, all the countries that appeared here, and America was here. And I distinctly remember doing the video and saying, Donald Trump's saying it's not coming here, but I'm telling you, it's already here. We don't know it yet. And sure enough, within a couple of weeks, we started seeing people sick. You know the story. You saw what happened. We could tell it was man-made, that it came from Wuhan, all that long before the media was saying that was the case. We found it there. Okay, so disease X is in this table. It's up in this area here with the black letters, but the actual table that we're looking at now as an access term is one I've just got it started. It's nowhere near like you just saw, but it's something I am working on now. And I imagine it is going to render a lot of information, as the last one did. Which this is it here. This is called disease X. And since I saw the article where they have this outbreak in India, I did look up in India, and lo and behold, it comes across as a banner across the top, and I skipped to 22. There are 2 years here, 2023 in the yellow and red there, and 2024 at a smaller interval here. So, which leads me to believe that this is probably when this is going to happen, and it's further out in history. It is in the time of distress, as we see right there in the plain text, you guys. And in the time of distress, we see America in the blue. Right there, we see pandemic down at the bottom. Very short skip here at a skip of 26. And we do have Biden here. Biden is in these letters. So I still got a lot of work to do on this particular one. And on top of everything else that I'm having to do and deal with, you guys, it's a lot. I'm still have names codes that I got to complete. I'm also working on my cases that I have currently in the legal, which it is plural. I have a criminal case, but I also have liability cases against other people that I have to deal with, and it is taking a lot of my mental capacity. It's very taxing on me, you guys. I should have 10 or 15 codes in front of me of current events right now, and I don't. And that troubles me, you guys, that I'm not able at this juncture to do what Yahuwah has called me to do. And he hasn't cast me away. In spite of what been said about me, I will have my day in court at some point. I will be vindicated. But Yahuwah said, I will not cast you away. And so there are those that think I'm outside of the kingdom. You just watch what happens. You watch what happens when I'm able to come back and do this full time and continue with my school, which, by the way, troubles me that I can't stop trying for months to try to start that back. I have a full roster that I could start with students that I've contacted and those that I haven't contacted, and I can't do that and support myself and pay for the enormous amount of legal that I'm going to have to pay for. And not only that, I have to pay for my own flight back to Hawaii at the advice of my attorney and the bail bondsman, because if I allow the state to do that, it's going to cost me 10 times what an airline ticket will cost. So there's a lot of pressure there, a lot of things I'm worrying about. Please be praying for me. And let me just say this, I appreciate those that have stood by me through this whole time, those that never walked away. Continue to pray for me, continue to be and treat me as a human being and with kindness. I thank you for that. Thank you for giving me shelter, allowing me to stay with you. You guys know who you are. And to my mother for never giving up on me. My mom knows me better than anyone. I just wanted to let everybody know that I appreciate it. And I appreciate the continued prayers. Like I said, I'm going through the most difficult time of my life right now. Ironically, I prophesied this, and I don't call myself a prophet, by the way. There are times where you was giving me prophetic words, and this is one of those times. And I was telling people for 2 or 3 years, we're going through the threshing floor. There's going to be a threshing. There's going to be the furnace that we got to go through, because that's the biblical pattern that Yahuwah gives us in the harvest of his people. You will go through some sort of threshing in your life. What does that mean? That means all the things that are not good for the kingdom, all associations, all habits, all things that are not fruitful. Well, it's going to be burned away. It's going to fall away, and the grain is going to be exposed. That is what Yahuwah's after, not the chaff. Okay, and all of us have chaff. None of us escape this. We need to get that through our heads. Everybody's going to go through some sort of squeezing, some sort of hard time in their life, where you're gonna have your faith tested. You're gonna have to walk through a fire. And here's the thing: you're gonna come out on the other side. He is not going to cast you away. He tells us that in his word. He's not going to throw you away. He's not going to throw me away. And I still have to love those people who accuse me. That's a very difficult thing to do. So one of the things that I'm dealing with is anger and bitterness. I have to fight that every day. I have to go to the cross every day, you guys, for those that have betrayed me, who have slandered me and defamed me. I have to forgive that. And I do. So let me just say that publicly. I hold no ill will to any human being at all. So again, enough with that, you guys. That's where I'm at. I'm going to have to be flying back to Hawaii at some point and going through the adjudication process and defending myself. And I expect to be vindicated at some point when the full story is told. So thank you for your prayers. If you would like to help me in any way, I would appreciate the donations. I don't ask that. Rarely do I do, and it's usually when I'm in a bad place, like I need a surgery or something. You guys have came through. I'm in that place now. Everything that I've brought in the past few months has been going to surviving and going to attorneys. And it's not a pleasant experience. I don't wish this on anyone, but I will endure. I am going to make it through this, and I appreciate those that continue to help me. So please, if you can, consider donating to Jonathan in this time that I'm going through. Until then, may Yahuwah bless you and keep you. I will try to get some more codes out on this issue that I've been talking about here in this video. So thanks. Shalom to you. May Yahuwah bless you.